Archaeologists have discovered a huge ancient city hidden underground in Mexico, which may give a better understanding of the Maya civilization.
In a part of the desert where the Euphrates River once flowed, archaeologists discovered something that shook the entire world. Hidden beneath the ground was a sealed tomb, untouched for thousands of years. It's said this could be the tomb of Gilgamesh, the great king of Uruk. As the stone door was broken open, the air that gushed forth wasn't just cold, but terrifying, as if someone had held their breath for centuries and was now free. Strange, incomprehensible symbols and inscriptions adorned the walls. No linguist could decipher them. When finally deciphered, it turned out they weren't history. They were a warning. Whoever opens this tomb will become part of it. The excavation team realized they might have unearthed something that should never have been revealed. People in the surrounding villages had told strange stories for years. It said the ground there felt hollow, cattle wouldn't cross, and anyone who passed by felt the ground tremble gently. The old villagers called the place the river's grave, as if some ancient spirit was sleeping beneath the Euphrates. Initially, all this was considered mere folklore, but now, when the tomb has been opened and the inscriptions inside have been deciphered, one question is troubling everyone. Have archaeologists truly uncovered Gilgamesh's tomb, or have they awakened something that had been dormant for thousands of years? Friends, this story isn't just history, it's a warning. So be sure to watch the video until the end, because the final footage that's about to come may change the world. And yes, if you like videos about ancient mysteries and lost civilizations like this, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon, because what we're going to show next time has never been seen before. After months of digging in the hot desert sun, a team of archaeologists finally noticed something strange. Their tools struck something hard beneath the ground. As the soil was removed, a heavy stone slab was slowly revealed, marked with strange markings, as if someone had deliberately sealed it so that no one would ever open it. The team initially thought it was just an ordinary old structure, but as they scanned the area around it, instruments began showing strange readings. Magnetic sensors were suddenly fluctuating, as if energy was being released from within the slab. The project leader gave the command to note all readings and proceed with the excavation cautiously. Cameras and drones were recording continuously, but after a while, static appeared in the footage. Electronics suddenly began glitching. None of the devices could capture a stable signal. Temperature sensors showed that the air around the slab was about 5 degrees cooler than elsewhere. A team member said, "How is this possible? It's 46 or so in the afternoon." Everyone's faces were filled with both surprise and fear. When the stone was slowly lifted by a crane, the entire atmosphere changed. A cold, musty, and heavy air wafted out as if someone had been holding their breath for centuries. The air was so thick that some people struggled to breathe. Light sensors flickered, and the excavation tent suddenly went dark. A scientist said, "It looks like an electromagnetic field here." Archaeologists noticed a faint glow of an ancient symbol emerging from the wet soil beneath the slab. Everyone was now convinced that this was no ordinary discovery. The project had signaled the team to retreat, but curiosity held them back. All eyes were fixed on the dark opening, from which a faint blue glow emanated, as if something was still alive beneath. At that moment, no one said anything out loud, but the same question was echoing in everyone's hearts. Have we opened something that should have remained closed? Thousands of years ago, when civilization was just beginning, the Mesopotamian city of Uruk was ruled by a king whose name is recorded in every history book, Gilgamesh. Legend has it that he was half human and half god, with the strength of 100 men. He built massive walls around his city and erected magnificent temples. But his greatest passion was immortality. Gilgamesh didn't fear death, he feared being forgotten. So he journeyed to the world of the gods, seeking the secret of immortality. The story goes that after the death of his friend Enkidu, he traveled across the world, crossed the sea, and finally reached the place where the gods lived. But when he returned with the secret of immortality, it is said that he never shared it with anyone. Some texts say that the gods themselves buried his body beneath the river so that no human would ever find it again. This is why he was called the king who sleeps beneath the river. For thousands of years, these lines were considered a symbolic metaphor by scholars, a poetic expression that demonstrated that no one could escape death. But now when archaeologists discovered a sealed tomb near the old course of the Euphrates River, everything has changed. The excavation site is in the very area where ancient texts refer to the resting place of Gilgamesh. Experts are now questioning, is this the same place mentioned in the Epic of Gilgamesh? If so, does this mean that Gilgamesh was a real king, not just a legend? Researchers have found symbols on the walls that resemble handwriting from that time. Each sign seems to be part of a divine story. Now a debate has erupted among archaeologists. Is this a link between history and mythology? If this is indeed Gilgamesh's tomb, perhaps the secret he hid, the secret of immortality, is slowly emerging from the depths of the earth. For years, a strange tale had circulated among the people living around Uruk. In the old villages, elders recounted that the land left behind after the river dried up was filled with strange noises at night, as if someone was whispering from beneath. Some said they could hear a faint thump from the ground, as if a sleeping heart was slowly beating. Children were strictly forbidden to go near the area, for it was said that the land was alive. The villagers called it the river's grave. Cattle, buffalo, and camels were not allowed to cross that path. Farmers said that whenever an animal passed by, it would suddenly run away in fear, as if it had seen something. If someone walked alone at night, they would feel the ground tremble slightly beneath their feet. Some even said that the air smelled metallic, and a strange blue glow appeared on the ground. Outsiders laughed at these stories, but for those who lived there, they were not just rumors, but a warning. Many times when villagers struck the ground with their spades during their excavations, a hollow sound emerged, as if there was a void beneath. Elders said that an ancient spirit was sleeping there, one that should never be awakened. When the course of the Euphrates River changed and that area dried up, this fear intensified. People believed that the river itself had covered the object, and now that the water had receded, its protection had also ended. When archaeologists arrived at the site, they dismissed these stories as mere local superstition. But when the instruments actually revealed a hollow space beneath the ground, a hush fell upon the team. It seemed as if the elders' warnings were proving true. Now the question arose, were those rumors actually based on some deeper truth? And was that river grave really the sleeping world of an ancient king, now beginning to awaken again? The actual excavation began on a calm morning, as the sun was just rising above the sand dunes. The entire team surrounded the excavation zone with their tools and high-tech equipment. At first, everything seemed normal, but as soon as the ground-penetrating radar began working, some strange shapes appeared on the screen. Waves reflected from the soil below indicated the presence of a massive, hollow structure beneath the ground, something completely unnatural. Engineers rechecked the readings, but the results remained the same. It seemed as if someone had carefully constructed a large chamber beneath. The team flew drones overhead and took 3D scans of the entire area. Infrared cameras revealed strange heat patterns in some areas of the ground. Some places were extremely cold, while others showed sudden increases in heat, as if something was emitting energy. When the scanners were sent deeper, the hollow readings became clearer. This clearly indicated a sealed chamber about 30 feet below. The project head ordered that the excavation be conducted stage by stage, so as not to damage any ancient structures. As the day progressed and the excavation deepened, the soil's color began to change. As the cameras went deeper, they began to pick up strange heat signatures. It seemed as if something beneath the ground was slowly heating and cooling. These readings were not typical of a typical archaeological site. Some sensors repeatedly went off, as if there was an electromagnetic disturbance. One team member joked, "It sounds like an engine is running down there," but no one laughed. The sound of each shovel now echoed in the silence. The soft glow of the excavation light reflected a metallic sheen from the soil below. As the camera went further down, something appeared in front of the lens that stunned everyone. A stone wall on which a faint heat-like light shimmered. No one could tell whether the sheen was natural or a sign of something else. All I knew was that what was about to unfold would change the course of history. Finally, the moment everyone had been waiting for months arrived. After the excavation was complete, A massive stone tomb appeared, one that seemed to weigh hundreds of tons. Ancient markings were engraved on it, and a faint blue haze hovered around it, as if some strange energy was present in the air. The team set up all the equipment, cameras, sensors, and emergency lights. The excavation lead radioed, "Carefully, open slowly." As the crane's iron claw began pulling the stone, the entire area fell silent. Suddenly, the slab shook with a heavy noise, and cold, thick air poured out from beneath it, so cold that even the hot desert air seemed to freeze for a moment. A strange smell wafted with the air, like a mixture of earth, metal, and something ancient. At the same time, the excavation tent lights blinked, flickered, and then went off. Some cameras had stopped recording automatically. A team member exclaimed, "Power surge!" But the meters showed there was no electrical fault. The team leader peered down and said in a low voice, "There's something here, older than the air itself." His voice held both fear and respect. What was now visible below was not like any ordinary tomb. The walls were made entirely of stone, but a faint golden light seeped through them. Strange markings were etched onto the walls. Some appeared human, some like those of an unknown creature. When the archaeologists shone their flashlights on the wall, the symbols glowed as if someone had activated them. Each symbol emitted a wave of mild energy, causing constant spikes in the sensors. Language experts were called in and immediately photographed the inscriptions. They said, "It looks like ancient cuneiform script, but it has some patterns never seen before on a Mesopotamian tablet." Some markings resembled modern mathematical symbols, like equations, fractals, and energy diagrams. Experts were baffled as to how someone could have created these thousands of years ago. Some of the patterns were so complex that even computer software couldn't process them. A researcher placed his hand on a section of the wall, and the stone beneath it seemed to heat up. Suddenly, the symbols began to glow faintly, as if responding to someone. Simultaneously, monitoring devices detected a strange electromagnetic pulse. No one could decipher whether this was a natural reaction or a signal from an unknown energy source. Cameras were taking footage from every angle, but static repeatedly appeared, as if some invisible force was interfering. One member of the team asked, "Could this be part of some ancient technology?" Another replied, "Or some language, not made for humans." When scientists studied the direction and pattern of the symbols, they believed they resembled a message or formula, not religious or decorative text. Some experts believed they were a record of some energy containment or sealing process, as if something had been sealed inside. It was as if time had stopped. Everyone stared at the glowing wall with their instruments. There was a faint buzz in the air, and the light was slowly growing darker. One scientist whispered, "This isn't just a tomb. It's probably a warning." The rest were silent. Only the clicking of cameras and the beeping of machines could be heard. At that moment, everyone realized they had touched the foundations of not history, but some mysterious force. And now there was perhaps no turning back. When the symbols on the walls became impossible to decipher manually, the team activated their most advanced tool, an AI-based decoding system that could translate rare ancient languages using pattern recognition. High-resolution images of the symbols were fed into the system, and the computer began analyzing each line. For a few minutes, strange codes and equations blinked on the screen. Then suddenly, the system displayed the translation, and what it said sent shivers down everyone's spine. "Those who wake me shall drown in their own rivers." The room fell silent. No one said anything. Only the soft beeping of monitors and the humming of machines could be heard. The project head whispered, "Is this a curse?" But no one had an answer. That single sentence transformed the excavation from an archaeological discovery to a terrifying mystery. The AI tried to translate the remaining portions, but each time the system glitched. The symbols repeatedly rearranged as if some invisible intelligence was manually altering them. Scientists thought the data might be corrupt, but a linguistic expert said, "These symbols are reacting on their own." Some researchers noticed that a rippling-like animation appeared in the background of the translation screen. Even though the system didn't have such a visual mode, it seemed as if the warning echoed some deeper power. As they advanced into the main chamber, A massive stone coffin appeared. A slight metallic smell permeated the air. The same golden inscriptions were engraved on it. The team decided to slowly lift the lid. The sound of a hydraulic machine echoed throughout the cavern. As the stone lid was lifted, the air escaping was so cold that it fogged up the camera lenses. When the smoke began to clear, everyone's gaze focused inside. The body was perfectly intact, even after thousands of years. The body's face was calm, but its skin glowed metallically, with a faint golden hue. Golden patterns covered his entire body, resembling microcircuitry rather than ancient tattoos, as if someone had carved energy flow pathways. His eyes were closed, but his eyelids were perfectly preserved, like those of a living human. Scientists took scans, and the readings left everyone breathless, a very weak but constant pulse of energy emanating from his body. A senior biologist said, "That's impossible. A biological signal in such an old body?" But the thermal camera clearly showed a faint warmth near his chest. Some people jokingly asked, "Is that breathing?" But no one smiled. One researcher whispered, "If this is truly Gilgamesh, then perhaps he has found what the world has been searching for, immortality." But another voice echoed, "Or he created something that wasn't human." Some team members were convinced it was a hybrid being, half human, half from another civilization. An attempt was made to obtain a DNA sample, but the instruments shut down upon contact with the sample. The lab computer sounded a foreign element detected. A metallic disc was also found beneath the body, bearing the same symbols as those on the walls. Everything fell into a mysterious silence. The air was heavy, as if the presence of some ancient power was felt. The excavation head looked down and said, "We've found something that should never have been touched." The coffin was now open, and it seemed to breathe not history, but an ancient warning. Just days after the tomb was opened, strange occurrences began occurring at the excavation site. First, camera recordings began to glitch. The footage was repeatedly corrupted. Some clips contained only static, and others showed faint figures or light flashes that weren't actually there. Data drives formatted automatically, and sensor readings dropped to 0. The generator would stop running, even though there was no mechanical fault. It seemed as if some invisible force was disturbing the entire camp's electronic systems. At night, when crew members tried to sleep, a low humming sound could be heard in the distance, as if an engine was slowly turning underground. On the third day, one of the team's archaeologists suddenly became ill. He said he constantly heard voices in his head, as if someone was speaking in an ancient language. His condition worsened to the point where he had to be airlifted to the hospital. A few hours later, another member complained of seeing someone walking outside his tent at night, but when he went outside, no one was there. Some claimed to have seen a blue light flashing in the direction of the tomb, and immediately all the electronic devices in the camp went out. The project head ordered the site temporarily suspended, but strangely, as soon as they tried to stop the excavation, some sensors automatically turned on, and the same hum in the background became even louder. Sound experts tried to record it and found that it wasn't the sound of a human or machine, but a subsonic frequency, so deep that it could only be heard through ground vibrations. The project was now turning from archaeology to science fiction. The next morning, some black SUVs arrived at the site, accompanied by armed military officers. They cordoned off the entire area and told all researchers to stop digging immediately. Within hours, tents were removed, camera systems dismantled, and every recording device was taken into government custody. The team was made to sign a confidentiality agreement. Reporters trying to approach were turned away. No one knew why the government suddenly felt so urgent. According to sources, military officials declared the site a classified zone. They now had complete control of the excavation. Outsiders were told the area was unsafe because of possible biohazard contamination. But the researchers knew this was just a pretext. They had seen with their own eyes that the tomb contained not biological material, but some energy-based anomaly. Rumors began to spread that the government had found something there that fell into neither science nor religion, something that perhaps existed on Earth before humans. A few days later, satellite images revealed that the entire site had been covered with metallic domes. Entry was now prohibited. Many members of the excavation team were sent to different countries. Some were fired, Others were barred from speaking to the media. But some fragments of leaked footage still exist on the internet. Among the static for a moment, the same blue light and the glow of the stone wall are visible. And behind it, a faint voice is heard. "You have awakened what should have slept forever." Then the footage ends. No one knows whose voice it was, human or something else. But whatever it was, it convinced everyone that this excavation wasn't just a discovery, it was a warning. Even after the site was closed, the discovery became a topic of discussion worldwide. Universities, research institutes, and news agencies were abuzz with one question. What exactly was found in Mesopotamia? Some scientists argued that it was all a coincidence and that rumors of a curse were merely rumors. They argued that electromagnetic disturbances, air pressure changes, and hallucinations could all be natural reactions. However, many experts argued that there was something beyond the understanding of physics, perhaps an energy field that had been stable for thousands of years and was disturbed by the excavation. Theories flooded social media. Some called it an ancient frequency barrier, while others claimed it was a bioenergy trap. The biggest statement came from archaeologist Dr. Amir Rahman, who was part of the excavation team. He said in an international interview, "The symbols were not meant to be read." According to him, the markings were not a script or message, but a seal pattern, a formula written to keep something sealed. He said, "We probably didn't understand that it wasn't a tomb, but a containment chamber." His statement went viral, dividing the scientific community, one that considered it superstition, and the other that believed humans had uncovered something that shouldn't have been touched. Meanwhile, online theorists linked the entire incident to an ancient alien connection. Thousands of threads appeared on Reddit and Twitter, stating that Gilgamesh's name appears in the same way in many cultures, and that his divine origin was likely literal, not symbolic. Some theorists suggested that he was a hybrid being created by an alien race, and that the ancient technology inside the tomb was what was keeping him alive. One viral theory suggested that the hum sound inside the tomb was actually the resonance of a dormant energy reactor, and that this was why the government sealed the site. Archaeologists then found a stone tablet in the sealed chamber, bearing new lines previously unseen. AI decoded them, and the translation read, "When the river dries, the king shall rise again." Everyone was astonished. The Euphrates River, on whose banks the tomb was found, is indeed drying up. Satellite images show that the water flow is decreasing year after year. Environmentalists attribute this to climate change, but some argue that a prophecy has been activated. Many scholars have suggested that the lines could be symbolic, that when civilization collapses, the old powers will return. But some believers have claimed that since the excavation, strange energy spikes and unexplained tremors have been recorded in the area. People on social media have begun saying, "The king has awakened." The waters of the Euphrates are no longer just a river, but a symbol of warning. When the government declared the excavation site classified, local media coverage sparked discussions on social media worldwide. Hashtags like Meteorm, Gilgamesh Tomb, and Rita River Curse began trending on Twitter and Reddit. Some users shared screenshots of satellite imagery, claiming that a large restricted zone had now been created near the old Euphrates River course. Many also reported seeing strange lights at night since the excavation ceased, though no one recorded them. Independent researchers and archaeologists shared their views on YouTube. Some said the government's sudden intervention was due to the discovery of traces of an ancient fungus or rare bacteria, posing a risk of contamination. Several YouTubers claimed that this wasn't just a security precaution, but an attempt to conceal historically sensitive evidence from the public. In Reddit threads, people analyzed the excavation team's interviews, specifically Dr. Amer's statement, in which he said, "The symbols were not meant to be read," was deliberately misinterpreted by many, and a conspiracy angle was added. International news outlets also reported on this, but the tone varied. Some called it the biggest archaeological find of the century, while others wrote, "Rumors overpower scientific facts." Scholarly discussions began on archaeology forums about whether it could truly be the tomb of Gilgamesh, or simply that of a ruler from a local dynasty. Many experts said it would be premature to reach any conclusions without concrete DNA or artifact proof. But the more scientists tried to establish the truth, the faster rumors spread online. This mix of curiosity and misinformation became a new phenomenon on social media. Some began linking it to political control in the Middle East, while others suggested that the metallic patterns found in the excavations might be technological tools from a lost civilization. No one had actually seen what was found inside, and this uncertainty fueled theories. The archaeologists' silence and the government's secrecy only fueled curiosity. Now everyone wanted to know, has something really been found that could change history? We still don't know what was found inside that sealed tomb. Some say it was a simple archaeological chamber. Others say it contained extraordinary objects related to ancient Mesopotamian culture. But one thing is clear. This discovery has forced the world to reconsider how incomplete history has been written. Footage shows the exhausted faces of the excavation team, glimpses of the metallic chamber, and artifacts being sealed in the archive. A narrator in the background says, "This story perhaps serves as a reminder that human curiosity is both its greatest strength and its greatest danger." Every time we delve deep into the earth, we discover not just old relics, but truths about our past. If you think there's more truth hidden in this discovery, tell us in the comments what you think happened. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to the channel, because in the next episode, we'll reveal real government documents and archaeological reports that no one has ever seen.